You know we gotta open this video up by talking about the move. We gotta talk about the hottest dance move in sports, because today the Vancouver Canucks played off against the Detroit Red Wings, my first and third favorite teams, battling it out, and we saw yet another Griddy. Except this time it wasn't Jake Walman scoring an overtime goal and hitting it on the Red Wings faithful. Instead, we saw Nikita Zadorov in his first game back since getting suspended in the last game against the Red Wings. He hit the Griddy, this time in a taunting manner against Jake Walman. And I had myself a laugh at this. A lot of other Canucks fans had a laugh at this as well. We're starting off in the middle of the third period with this commentary because for me, I personally did not watch the game until the third. I had ball hockey tonight, so I had to miss out on the first two periods. But the big story everybody's talking about is Jake Walman and his... do I want to say temper tantrum? Is that the right way to say it? I don't know. I'm a Red Wings fan, so I have a little bit of sympathy for the guy. But man, in the third period, Jake Walman and Pia Sutar kind of got into it a little bit. There were sticks flailing, there were punches thrown, and there were harsh words exchanged. Jake Walman also went to the bench angrily hitting his stick against the glass. And then on the Sportsnet replay, we saw Nikita Zadorov taunting Walman by doing a Griddy on the ice in a joking manner. And that was absolutely hilarious, dude. I don't know if the specifics of the situation were, Nikita Zadorov hit Walman with the Griddy and then Walman was pissed off, or if the stuff happened after, like Walman was already kind of ticked off, he was skating away pouting, and then that's when Zadorov hit the little Griddy on him. I'm not too sure on the timeline of the events, but hey, we had ourselves a Griddy moment, which was hilarious. Also interesting to note, though, about Nikita Zadorov, of course, we talked about this is his first game back into the lineup after getting himself suspended from that Lucas Raymond high hit on Saturday, but he went out there and scored a goal. And he also still layeth the smack down on Lucas Raymond in this game. He boarded the guy in a pretty brutal way that was legal this time. It wasn't a hit to the head like last. But hey, he still got the brunt end of Lucas Raymond on that one individual rush. You could tell that Nikita Zadorov is not backing down from his playstyle, even though he got the hammer. Now, to his credit, he did say before the game that the hit that he had on Raymond, the one that got him suspended in the first place, was a high hit. He called his own hit very dirty, which, look, I'm gonna give Zadorov props for that. He has always been a very outspoken and well-articulate guy in the interview scene. So to hear him pretty much say, yeah, that's my fault, I'm taking the L on that, they were right to suspend me, it was a hit to the head, it was a high one, hey, there's respect there. So good on Nikita Zadorov for being a good sport about it. But this game, when it comes to the final score, it's 4-1. Honestly, the Canucks could have made it 5-1, maybe even 6-1, because at the end of the game, they had like 3 or 4 opportunities at the empty net that they either missed by literally just the size of a post, or they shot it wide because they got a bad shot, or they just refused to shoot it even though they had the opportunity to do so. They could have scored another one or two, but they decided to be a little bit too cutesy, a little bit too kind, trying to get the other guy the goal, and it ended up not going for them that way. I mean, they still won, so I don't think they're too ticked off about how that empty net sequence went, but based off of what I was hearing and based off of some of the footage of this game, this seemed to have been a Vancouver Canucks defensive clinic against a Detroit Red Wings team that is one of the top in the NHL when it comes to goals for per game. And as we had talked about in the Saturday game commentary, the Red Wings are one of the best teams in the NHL when it comes to coming back in the third period. They had gotten, I think it was like the second most third period comebacks out of every team in the NHL, and they executed another one on Saturday as they beat the Vancouver Canucks in overtime. Again, that was the Jake Walman Griddy celebration that we had all been familiar with from a few nights ago. But on this game, you saw yourselves the Vancouver Canucks get off to a pretty hot start, and they maintained that presence, especially on the penalty kill, and especially defensively. The first goal of the game, it's a giveaway by Jeff Petrie, who tries to go off the boards, clearing the puck out of his own zone, but instead it gets picked off by JT Miller, who walks right in and snipes it top right corner on Alex Lyon. Just a few minutes later, you had yourselves Elias Lindholm getting himself his third goal in a Vancouver Canucks sweater. He comes over the blue line, kind of stops up, holds it for a little bit, and then just snipes it right by Lyon. Very long-range sniper kind of goal there. Not really the kind of characteristic goal you'd see Lyon give up, but hey, we'll take it. Elias Lindholm gets his second homecoming for Vancouver. Of course, the first one was in the Carolina game. Second one was here tonight. And sticking with Calgary players who are making a good impact on the Vancouver Canucks, you got Nikita Zadorov, the gritty guy himself, going out there and scoring to open things up in the second period. The puck kind of deflects over to the blue line, and Zadorov walks right in and just snaps it. It's a very long-range goal. It's 3-0 Vancouver. The Red Wings respond. Patrick Kane sends it over to Compher, who makes it 3-1. And then in the third period, the Canucks had themselves a few penalties that were taken. The Wings ultimately not capitalizing on a single power play chance. They were 0 for 5 tonight, which is very good, honestly, considering the fact that they've been one of the better power plays this year. So the fact that the Canucks were able to defend well and hold off the Wings, especially along those flanks, they had themselves a pretty good game. Now, the third period saw yourselves only one goal scored by Elias Lindholm. This one was assisted by Elias Pettersson. He actually tried to send the pass over to Lindholm, but he flubbed it. But keeping his composure intact, Pettersson is able to calmly collect the puck back and then send it across to Lindholm, who fires it by Lyon. That is the 4-1 goal, and that is all she wrote. Again, we had talked about the empty net situation. Thatcher Demko tried to shoot for the empty net too, but it didn't end up going. The Canucks also scored an empty net goal, Brock Besser, for his 31st of the year, but it was offside because JT Miller entered the zone way too early. So again, this is what I was talking about. The Canucks could have made this one 5-1, 6-1 easy if they had just been a little bit more patient or a little bit more antsy. That's kind of an oxymoron when you think about it, but hey, certain situations were a little bit too lackadaisical and others were a little bit too frantic. So either way, the Canucks get themselves the win. They are still first in the NHL, which is very, very nice. They're first undisputed in points and in points percentage. The other teams around the NHL, the Boston Bruins, unfortunately lost in regulation. Thank you, Seattle. You have some other names that had ended up with L's too. But at the end of the day, the Vancouver Canucks keep their stranglehold on the NHL with this 4-1 win over the Detroit Red Wings with the Griddy in the spotlight. Now, I have been seeing a few conversations popping up on like Sportsnet Twitter and a few other social media outlets saying, oh yeah, like this is how you settle disrespect, right? This is how you go out there and respond to it. You don't cross-check a guy in the face like Morgan Rielly did. Like, everybody tries to make this entire situation about Morgan Rielly. Come on, man. Like, I get it. You could make a comparison. Oh, Ridley Gregg, the slap shot into the open net. Walman, the Griddy, home ice, whatever. Like, there's a level of disrespect there, but I think they're kind of to different magnitudes. I don't really think they're too equal, but either way, I mean, the Vancouver Canucks, whether they get grittied on or not, they'll take the win, especially within the context of this game, where based off of how everybody on the radio was describing it, because I was listening on the drive home after ball hockey, it seemed like the Vancouver Canucks just decided to put on a defensive clinic, and it worked. They didn't take too many risks in the third period. They didn't really pinch too hard on the defensive side of things. They just let the play come to them. They let the Red Wings do their thing, and once they got too close, boom, that's when you go with the hit or the poke check or the interception, and they just played good shutdown hockey. Didn't try to do things too frequently or too frantically on offense because they had the 2-goal lead, eventually the 3-goal lead, and eventually the win. So everybody played their part. Not to mention Thatcher Demko, who is pretty good too. The saves that I caught, yeah, he has been on top of his game this whole season, and this game was no diversion from that. So good on Demko for doing what it is that he does. The team is playing confident in front of him. This was almost a perfect game, all things considered, if you discount the one goal that the Red Wings ended up scoring, and potentially the empty net chances too. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about the Vancouver Canucks getting back at Jake Walman with the Griddy, thoughts on the Detroit Red Wings, and how they were able to play in this one, losing 4-1 in regulation. Canucks, man, they're still first in the NHL. I don't know what else there is to say. We keep on talking about it, but they just keep on winning. So, hey, I'm liking this pattern. How about you? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.